Yes, 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 yes. What's going on, Power Wheel enthusiasts? This is show number 2 of the Power Wheels podcast. I'm your host, Lefty the Great. Not so great in this industry because I'm still a newbie, but to my left in the virtual studio is a man I'm very, very interested to talk to. We've been, oh, there goes my on the air sign dropping. I gotta fix that later. It just keeps dropping. Uh, a man that I've really wanted to talk to because I am very interested in what he's doing. I've been consuming a lot of his content. Mr. Alex Teter. What's up, Alex? How are you?
What's going on, man? I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't know. You have so many entities. I see you have Teeterbilt Racing. There's Oxford Power Wheels. I think there's Trevors Fast Life.
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah, we even
you're
have
Uber.
Snowy's Fast Life.
You've got like so much content out there. Your Instagram's badass. Like you got, when I first met you, I was like, dude, your Instagram's cool. I love this type of stuff. And we was talking prior to this, and I'm really excited because you're in the racing scene.
Mhm.
I'm in the racing scene, and my genre. So I think we're gonna have a great chat here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, you're also a very busy man, so thank you for your time. I'm not going to hold you up too much. First off, we have to say pay some bills to say a big thank you to Alan Placer at ML Toys.
Are you looking to take your ride-on car to the next level? Ride-on cars are fun and look good, but they're just too slow. ML Toys makes it easy with plug-and-play modifications like motors, speed and brake controls, advanced gearing options, 4-point safety harnesses, and lighting upgrades like emergency lights, underglow kits, and headlights. ML Toys is the one-stop shop to make your ride-on car the coolest ride-on car in the neighborhood.
But a big shout out to ML Toys and Alan Placer. We do have a tech tip from him coming up later. And another little crossover. I don't know, man. We got to get you hooked up with this guy. But this is my buddy Frank Zell, and he's got a coffee company called Get Shit Done Coffee, and he's all about racing and all that stuff. I'm going to put you in contact with him, and you'll like his energy. But try that out as well. We have a coupon code for that as well.
Awesome.
But welcome, Alex, dude. So I guess I need to know about you. Like, you have a lot of entities going on. You seem like a very young man, but you're a super uber busy man. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? Where do you come from? And how did you get started in all of this?
Yeah, so it kind of all stemmed from myself drag racing. I drag race for years, since I got my license. And then once my first kid came along, which was Trevor, I was still drag racing at the time, and we're always bringing him to the racetrack. And then I never really noticed, all the kids that were there. I kind of just focused, on myself racing before I had kids. And then I see Trevor sitting there. He loved going to the track, and I see so many other kids that are there with their parents, but there really wasn't much to do for them there. They're sitting on the sidelines. They're watching. Yeah, they're having fun, but while dad, mom, everybody's wrenching on the cars, they're just sitting there kind of with nothing else to do. So it gave me the idea, like, how can we get these kids started at a younger level? Um, there's junior dragsters, but you can't get into them until you're 5 or 6 years old, I would say. So I said, maybe we can get something going with these kids at a younger age. And that's I mainly got the idea from Central Ohio Power Wheels. They were racing, I think, back in 2018, I want to say. And this was just when my son was born, and I had saw some videos, and I'm like, man, this is exactly what I plan to do with my kid. Like, I hope he's into it because this looks so cool. So we kind of just I built Trevor a car that mimicked my race car, which is a white Civic EG hatch K series all wheel drive. Simple setup, 800 horsepower. So we did it. We got a Lightning McQueen that was kind of similar, as you see, right there. But it's as close as we could get it to a Civic. I painted it white, did the intercooler in the front, did the up pipes, carbon hood, carbon wing, parachute, everything that just kind of mimicked dad's car. And that's what Trevor wanted. He wanted a car just like dad. So we did that, and that's it. Just all every day that he was in that car, just gave me ideas after ideas after ideas. And we started, there's a local car show that's right up the street from us every year. Big shout out to the Believe Cancer Foundation. A good friend of ours, Paul Matthews. He lost his son to cancer great guy, great kid. God bless him. But we do these events every year with them to help battle, to raise money, and that all goes towards childhood cancer.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And
yeah,
I feel for him. Any parent shouldn't lose their
yeah.
son at such a young age.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. But what Paul does for the kids and for for childhood cancer research it's incredible. I mean, I think last year he donated $300,000 towards cancer research by the end of the year. It's a big he does a lot throughout the year.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But
How old is your son, by the way?
so he's 6 now.
Okay, so it's the same age as my daughter.
Yep.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah, and I built him that car when I so actually before his Lightning McQueen, I had bought him a Lamborghini when he wasn't even born yet. I had just found out that I was having a boy, and I went right online, and I ordered a Power Wheel, and I remember unboxing it, and it said for ages 7 and up, and, my mom and everybody was like, it's gonna be a while until Trevor's driving that," and then I think he was 2 months old, and I had him at Honda Day at, Maryland International Raceway, and we were racing, and I had him there in that car, at 2 months old with remote control. I had a pillow stuffed around him with an old car seat harness, and he was driving. It was people are, seeing him drive around, they're like, "Man, you're crazy." I don't
Hardcore. You mentioned you're a Civic guy. So I have a buddy in Charlotte, Mike Hill, I call him, and he's a big Civic guy. And he used to be
Okay.
a RC racer with me. And he has not obviously nothing as extreme as yours, but he has one of them K swap. So when you was talking all that stuff, I was like, okay, that sounds like Mike's car.
Yeah.
We actually went. He took me. He has a sedan that's
Okay.
pretty nice. He has a sedan and a hatchback. We went. He took me on a drive through the tail of the dragon one time because we went for a road trip up to Tennessee. My sphincter was clenching like crazy because I've never done anything like that. But what an awesome road
Yeah.
going through all of that stuff. And he was telling me about the Honda meets and all that stuff that happened and all the different things that happened just at the tail of the dragon. So I imagine that. So personally, I'm going to say I'm from Bermuda originally and live in the Dominican Republic. I've never been to a drag race
Yeah.
or anything like that
Yeah.
because
We'll
we
have to
just don't
get you
have
out.
that.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough last year in my travels to go to my first NASCAR race at Indianapolis last year, and I was just blown away by that. I've been to some races in Europe, like touring car and superbikes,
Mhm.
but nothing like NASCAR or anything like that. So, but I'm looking forward to going to an actual real drag race. Like my buddy says, I need to go to the Gator Nationals.
Yeah.
Um,
That'd be good.
I've been down to like the Freedom Factory with Cletus McCarlin and seen that type of drag racing
Okay.
from afar because I was down
Yeah.
there for an event. But I can imagine there is nothing for the kids to do. And I see a lot of these from your posters and stuff. It's like alongside of these events,
Yeah.
which is freaking great exposure for your hobby, great
Yeah.
exposure for these kids. And I'm sure there's lots and lots of parents out there that are looking at this saying, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Exactly, and it's something, the kids can do alongside with mom and dad while they're at the track. If they're, the mom or dad's racing as well, you can have I mean, how cool is it to race at the track and have your kid there racing with you? I think that's something that really hits home with me, like, we're big racing advocates, so being able to go to the track and have your kid race with you at the same day, that means a lot to me. I think it's really cool.
Are you racing at this track or are you just putting on the events now?
So I haven't raced my car and it's been almost 2 years now,
Okay.
just because it's just been so busy with doing the events, and then I'd rather just kinda enjoy the time with the kids 'cause I did we did an event before with I raced as well, and it was a lot.
Mhm.
It was a lot for me to have my car ready, make sure I was safe, make sure the car was safe, make sure the kids' cars are safe. Because I mean, the kids' cars, they're flying,
Mhm.
My son's car is going over 30 miles an hour in the 60 foot. We've had a little scare before, so safety is, like, my biggest thing, and I always wanna make sure, like, I don't wanna be rushing with them, as some people are like, "Oh, it's just a Power Wheel," but I'm telling you, like, these cars seeing a Power Wheel 60 foot in 1.8 seconds at 32 miles an hour will blow your mind. I mean, I put my wife in her brand new Toyota RAV4 just to show her, perspective, and we put the Draggy in her car, and I said, "Look, we're gonna launch your car and see the G forces and see how quick it gets to the 60 foot. It took 2.46 seconds at 30 miles an hour. I said, we have 4-year-olds going 1.8 seconds at 30 plus miles an hour. Just
Yeah,
to
it's
put
all
it
in
in,
scale, right?
yeah, just to
All
put
in
it in
scale
perspective.
too.
Yep. And I was
So
like, so feeling that in the car, my wife's back in the seat like this, and I'm like, yeah, see, these kids they're flying, and that's
yeah.
almost a second slower than what these kids are doing. I mean,
Yeah, it has to be yeah, safety first, right?
yeah,
We don't want these kids getting hurt. It's good
yeah,
to see them wearing helmets and stuff like that. It's not like they have a full protective roll cage and all that stuff.
no,
And going 30 miles an hour on anything is gonna hurt when it hits the ground. But
yeah,
that's part of the risks of racing too. It
exactly.
teaches kids that. And I get it. As a, you kind of do the same thing I'm kind of do in my industry, as we talked before, in the RC racing industry. And I get it. When I became a team manager of a team, I was like, oh, I get to go to all these cool races that I've dreamt of. But guess what? I don't get to race
Yeah,
because it's all about making sure that everybody else on the team
exactly.
is okay. And now I go as a media outlet. People's like, you should just race. I'm like, no, I'm there to actually do a job, and
Yeah,
that's do media.
yeah,
So it's really hard to focus on your program and the other program, especially something that you're running.
exactly.
I
And my
Go ahead.
biggest thing is too is like, I have plenty of time for myself to race. The
Hmm.
kid's only this young once. Like Trevor's 6, he's racing quarter midgets now. I don't have much longer of him in the Power Wheels, so just
Hmm.
trying to enjoy every bit of it while I can, is the biggest thing. I have once the kids are out of this and once they get into middle school, they don't want nothing to do with mom and dad. So I'm
Right.
just trying to enjoy every bit of it while I can. And when the time comes when mom and dad are chopped liver, dad will get back to his racing.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I got a son that's getting 13 and he's kind of out of that. You would think that my son would be all into RC cars and all this type of stuff. We don't really have a tracker. He's a gamer. I'm into that. I did take him to a race once, but I agree. I missed times, I've been traveling a lot over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, just over the last 7 years, period. But since I've been living here in the DR, I've had jobs that have taken me away for a year at a time. I've worked in Abu Dhabi in England doing tunnel work for a year, coming back. My kid
'Cause
doesn't even know me.
Yeah, because
And
you have to, you're
yeah,
doing it for your kids and for your family, that's the
it's great to
unfortunate
spend
part
time
of
with
it.
them.
Yeah,
And that's probably one of the reasons that I really got into this was because just like my daughter was like, I really want to get a Power Wheels. And it kind of all aligned where I was talking to Alan about it at a race and he was telling me about this. And now I get to kind of enjoy. We're not probably going We're definitely not going as deep as you because there's nothing like that down her, to be honest.
yeah.
It's gonna be mostly bashing. But the goal would be to bring her to a race one day and try it
Oh,
out
that would be
and
awesome.
be there and check it out.
Yeah, we'd love to
So,
have you guys out.
all right. So you seem to be very similar to me. Let's explain to me because you have three different oh, sorry, by the way, before we go on, you was telling me that your son, his dream is to be a NASCAR driver,
Yup,
right?
yeah, he dreams to he dreams to be a NASCAR driver or a World of Outlaw driver, and I told him,
Really?
I said told him, "Why can't you do both?" I see, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson,
Those
a
guys
lot of
do it.
the yeah, those guys do it. I mean, it's it's not gonna be easy or cheap,
Who's his
but,
favorite driver, by the way?
his favorite driver is Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. And does he watch NASCAR and follow it?
He
Are you a
so
NASCAR fan?
I was honestly never a NASCAR fan, always,
Mhm,
always into drag racing, and then I was honestly never into dirt racing at all.
mhm.
I always kinda thought nothing against dirt racers, I always kinda thought, "Oh, you're just going in a circle." I tell you what, we went to the dirt track, and I let my son try out quarter midgets, that changed my whole perspective of dirt racing, and I respect dirt racers so much because to drive one of them cars, it is not easy. These guys say that you're just turning in a circle, you are absolutely wrong. 'Cause there is
Really?
so many things that go into it, the car setup, the driver, one wrong move into the turn and the car's, on the bigger scale of things, these guys make one false move, the car's flipping, they're rolling. I mean, you gotta be on your game, and there's a lot of talent that goes into it. We we got Trevor into the quarter midgets last year as we had a junior dragster for him, but we kinda thought, it would be cool, but, let's try him in the quarter midgets and see see what he likes better. And we got him in there, and he really likes that. It's more to me. I think it's more of a challenge, and I think you're building a driver. Like junior
Mm,
dragsters is awesome, but you're learning how to kill a tree, I would say. You're
mhm,
learning how to dominate on the tree, but you're
mhm,
just going in a straight line. To
mhm,
me,
mhm.
nothing against junior dragsters, they're great, but I think personally, I think a kid's gonna have more fun going out there in a quarter midget or something along those lines where they can turn more laps. Trevor will go out there and do 20, 30 lap features, and there's a lot that goes into it. Like I said,
Yeah,
I thought that was just you're just going in a circle, but I mean, if I don't have the car set up right, if Trevor makes one wrong little move, I mean, it cost you the race. Yeah,
yeah. It's
and that
it's it's amazing how much goes into oval racing, right?
yeah, yep, it
Uh,
absolutely blew my mind because we got into it at the start of last year not knowing anything about dirt racing. I knew everything about drag racing, and I'm there. It was actually pretty funny because our first dirt race, Trevor's all over the place, and guys are "What the heck do you got going on with that car, man?" And I had asphalt tires on, and we were running on the dirt, and I'm like, I was wondering what the A meant, on the tire versus the D, and they were like, "Yeah, you gotta run some dirt tires, man." I'm like,
awesome.
"I don't
I
know."
I actually have a buddy of mine. His name Danny Stockman. He's a crew chief for Jesse Love in the
Oh, okay.
Xfinity, and he is a avid RC fan, like
That's
avid.
awesome.
When he isn't obviously crew chiefing, he
Uh-huh.
is he is at RC track racing somewhere, and I really want to have him as a guest. But one of the guy that I got started with in this is very smart. Is very smart and set up, and he's written a book about it. He's done an online course. He's also very controversial. He's from
Mm,
Finland, right?
mm,
Smart dude, made his own car, everything, but
that's
uber controversial. Uber controversial. I remember Danny went up to him one day and said, "You know what? Everything you talk about and have explained in your book is applicable in full scale racing."
mhm.
And he goes, "I'd hire you on the spot to be my race engineer. We'd butt heads, but I'd hire you on the spot." So, and there seems to be some crossover in the Power Wheels world with NASCAR as well. According to what Alan was telling me, there are some NASCAR guys that are big into modify. I don't know if obviously I don't think they're into the drag racing side of things, but they're definitely into the modifying side of things and all that
Oh, for
type of
sure.
stuff. So they're dads as well. Looking
Yep.
to I remember that Stockman took me on a tour. This is when he was under Kyle Busch, right?
No,
So
okay, yep.
he took me on a tour of Kyle Busch, and I'm not really. I know who Kyle Busch. I've raced against Kyle Busch in
Yeah,
RC, to be
yeah,
honest, like
that's
years
cool.
ago. But I remember he took me and he showed me Kyle Busch's son's setup for his. I guess that was quarter midget racing that you're
Uh-huh,
talking about. Dude, they
yep,
had a whole freaking race team for that. Like it was
yeah,
crazy. They had multiple cars,
yep.
mechanic.
Yeah,
So
it's incredible, man. His son is a great driver.
mhm.
That's one of Trevor's favorite kid drivers,
Really,
as he would say. Yeah, is Braxton. He's a driver. He's actually if you I don't know if you followed his journey recently or not, but
I have
he's
not.
he's racing. He was racing quarter midgets. He's not in them
Mhm.
anymore. He's racing junior sprints.
Mm.
And then now he's actually racing micros. He's in a micro. He's been racing a Legends car.
Mhm.
He's gonna be a problem for NASCAR, World of
His father
Outlaws.
was I love his father's
Yeah.
attitude. I love
Oh, yeah.
I love Kyle Busch. He is we need more Kyle well, we need a Kyle Busch in RC.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm absolutely new to this, and I'm all new to the Power Wheels thing. I see so many different race promoting going on. How big is this drag racing scene for the Power Wheels community
Yeah,
overall, do you think?
I mean, it's huge. I would say that I know of, like, before we started doing it, the only guys that I know of that were doing it again were the guys up in Ohio, the Central
Mhm.
Ohio Power Wheels guys, and, they were doing it on the track. I think that I'm not sure if they were using the light or not, but, either way, I know they were racing on the track, and,
Mhm.
and that's kinda where like I was saying before, it's where we got the idea, and then we blew it up with the promotion. Big shout out to the guys from Fast Kids Club. They've been a huge sponsor and help for us with get the program promoted. And I
So
I I think there's almost there's a program in just about every state now. We've talked
really?
I've talked to 20 plus different guys that are, hey, I'm in, Nebraska. Hey, I'm in California. I'm in Idaho. How can we start a group? And I just sent them over my rules, kind of show them a little bit what we do, how we got started, and they just take it from there. I know there's a Alan's been working on the race directors group, and there's quite a few different groups on there. And I know he's been working on the schedule as well, and it's cool to see it filling up with so many different events from around the states.
Yeah. So, who are the Fast Kids Club? Explain that to me, please.
So the Fast Kids Club, they are an apparel brand, I would say, lifestyle brand.
Okay.
They make anything from kids racing merchandise to books to backpacks, pretty much anything kids racing. Brian's the owner. They actually own Eat Sleep Race, and
Okay.
it's a sister company off of that. They are all great guys. Big shout out to those guys.
I'm
Went
gonna have
out
to get some swag from them and
Yeah,
wrap it
yeah,
up.
we can definitely I'll get you hooked up, man. I went out to PRI with those guys this year, and we promoted our big Fast Life Fest event, and,
Really,
they're awesome. They're great
we're
guys.
gonna have
Big
to get them on the podcast. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
get them on here and talk to them.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So,
they're
are they
big
doing the
big
media for you guys, or are you doing all this media yourself?
So, most of all the media that's on the Fast Kids Club page,
Mhm.
is all done by their media team. They have a
Mm.
great media team, Nick, Harry, Rob. They have a few other guys that shoot for them as well, and they come out to all of our events and cover.
Awesome.
So all the coverage that's on Trevor's Fast Life YouTube and our Instagram pages, that's all the content that myself, my wife, and Trevor shoots. Trevor loves
I saw
filming.
he shot that. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, yeah, he loves vlogging, filming. That's like his favorite thing to do. That all started from a couple years back, which kinda helped blow this up as well. Was we
Mhm.
did, some videos with a guy you probably aren't familiar with him, but his name's Steven Scher.
Mm.
Does a lot of goofy kid videos on YouTube,
Okay.
like goofy skits and stuff like that. He's got Lamborghinis, McLarens, bunch of cool cars. We got together with him. Trevor was a big fan, and I'm like, man, this guy, I think he's local to us. So I had reached out a while back, and I was like, hey, look, here's my son Trevor. He's got he's really into cars. If you ever want to do a video together, let me know. And I figured he'd just, usually you never hear back from anything like that. And his manager had emailed me right away and was like, yes, we would love to get together. When are you available? And I think they excuse me. They came out 2 weeks after, came out to our house in his Lamborghini. Trevor was going insane. I didn't even tell him anything. I said, "You're staying home from school today. You have a special guest coming."
No way.
And we're in the garage, and he's like, "What is that noise?" And he hears Lambo coming down the road, and I said, "Come here." And we walked outside, and I wish I had a video of his face. I know I can ask our media guys if they do, but he walked outside, and I think he thought he was dreaming, and he got out of that car, and it was so cool. It was just kind of another,
It's a
that's a
real
whole
moment.
yeah, that's a whole nother story in itself, but, that's kinda what kicked off Trevor for having the love for vlogging and videoing. He sees all this cool stuff that Steven gets to do, and obviously all the money that he has, and he's like, "Dad, I want that life." I'm like, "Alright,
Well,
well, you're gonna
he's a
have to
smart
work
kid.
for it." Yeah.
He's smart because that's all gonna be pivotal in whatever career that he chooses, especially if he's gonna be a racer. PR and doing all that stuff's very important, especially in
Yeah.
this day and age.
And it
So
made him very good, like, he can talk to anybody.
awesome.
If you came and met him, he'd sit down and have a podcast with you, and he wouldn't even,
Really?
most kids get very shy, which is normal,
We're gonna have to get
but,
him on and have a chat
yeah,
with
but
him.
you could get him on here, and I bet you could get him going for 20 to 30 minutes before he's like, "Alright, I'm done."
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome, and it's so cool. He seems very much like my daughter, except my daughter doesn't speak English. She only speaks Spanish. So,
Okay.
she would talk your ear off. She is just like me, just like
That's
me.
awesome.
So,
It's
cool.
good. It's a good thing to have, to be
All
able to
right.
talk and
I guess my next question is, how is the race structure? Do we have okay, let's retract. How many people do you get? How many entries do you get to these events?
So I would say let's go back a few years. Let's go back 2 years real quick, and I'll make it quick. Our first event that we had 4 kids. I yeah, no, 3 kids. We did 3 kids lined up on a back road, all 3 raced, and it was first, second, third, whoever finished, and I was like, "Oh, 1 race, that's cool," but that was it. So our next race, I said, "We need to get more kids involved." We had maybe 10 kids. We did After that race, we did a fundraiser, got our timing system. I think our first race after that, we had 20 plus, and then ever since, it just grew and grew and grew. On average, we usually have around 50 kids racing. Our biggest event, which was Fast Life Fest last year at Cecil County Dragway with a farm truck and Asian, we did 136. It was insane.
That's impressive.
It
And
took
are people running multiple classes or is it just one car? How does it
Yeah,
work?
yep, yeah, so people can run multiple classes. We recently added a bracket class just to get this kid some more seat time and also just, learning the whole bracket side of racing. But, so if you're running stock class, you can run all 3 classes technically, but we require you to have a different car for each class.
Okay.
Just so there isn't a discrepancy, between some of the we were allowing cars before to run in the modified and the outlaw, the same car, but there was a lot of people could cheat easily, I would say,
Mhm,
because you're
mhm.
running the same car that's set up and you're just switching the battery. And we had a few issues with a couple people that we had caught cheating and we don't want that. It's a kids program. We don't That's like the last thing we want is kids cheating. And I know parents do it in every aspect of every sport, but I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Really? What is
it's it's race and passion, man.
Yeah.
It's like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't doing it. You ain't racing. That's that attitude, and it's like no different when parents get involved in this. I want to retract. So you had 130 racers, but that doesn't include their parents, their
No,
sisters. Uh, it's
no.
it's kind of like RC. We
Yeah,
may have a 200 and something racers at an event, 250 racers, but that doesn't include their kids, their
yeah.
parents, their dogs, their and all that type of stuff. And of course, do you live stream these events at all?
We have not been live streaming them. I have just
Okay.
been filming myself and trying to
Mhm.
get every pass we can and just kind of remake into a video for YouTube. But we have been like I'm planning to live stream our event in Texas, which is March 22nd, and
At the
trying
North
to
South
so maybe
North
I can
versus
talk
South
with you.
showdown.
Yeah, so maybe I can talk with you about that. Maybe we can get something figured out for a live stream out there.
I
That would be
mean,
cool.
they do it. So RC drag racing, outlaw drag racing, took off about 5 years ago, right? And what people liked about it was money involved and all that type of stuff, and it blew up. They had this big race in Vegas called King of the Streets, and it was like a 20 grand payout for it. You know, it blew up really big, and then it's kind of shrunk back down to it got too big. It got
Yeah,
too big. People were trying to sell $3,000 sub 2 second cars, and there was so much money involved in it. But for the actual stream for drag racing, it's actually very easy to do. You don't need much cameras. You need the
okay,
staff.
well, yeah,
The thing is going out there and you get into interview people, get that type of content and all that type of stuff. I could definitely lead you in that way of how to do things, but you have to have somebody dedicated to it as
yeah,
well,
definitely.
which we have. And you seem to have a lot of irons in the fire. So
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. So Oxford Power Wheels is basically the race program then.
Yep, it's basically our race group, and that's where I do get some questions, kind of what the differences are between each thing.
Hmm.
Oxford Power Wheels Racing is our race group, and that's what it kind of started as. It always started as just like I just made a small little group on Facebook, and instead of trying to message everybody when
Hmm.
the race is or when this is, I'm like, let me just start a little group and put all the information there. People can find it, and then now it's blown up to what it is today. Teter boat racing is actually my own thing, which
That's
is
where you build
hyper.
cars, right?
Yeah, I build real cars, I would say, or not real
Okay.
cars, but bigger cars. I do a lot of Honda high performance stuff, so a lot of K series, B series,
Really?
turbo
Is that your
build.
real job?
Yep, yeah. So I've been an auto mechanic for that's that's all I've ever done.
Right, but you
So
do specialize in modifying, right? That's
Yep.
your main thing. You don't
Yeah.
do just regular,
Yeah,
like,
I do, everything from your oil change to a
okay.
transmission build, but, I do I would prefer to do just, the high performance stuff,
Dude,
but,
there's a lot of content being made about that in the world too.
yeah,
Like, all
definitely.
that's, my buddy, he's a Honda guy, so he kind of hit me to that stuff. Content is king, man.
Yeah.
Content is what grows everything,
My buddy's
and
always like, "Man, why don't you ever film what you're building in the garage?" Because
I
like, I'm
I was
building
about to ask you
something
that.
every day, and it's like, man, I always start to go do it, and then I have 20 things going on at once, and I'm like, I always tell my wife, I'm like, "I need you, I need somebody just out here filming me all day. I
Do
need
you
to
have
just really."
employees or are
I
you working
don't,
your own?
no, I work for
Okay.
myself, so that's kinda the hard part of it, but I've been trying to I'm trying to get to a point where I can find, like a young high school entrepreneur that wants to get into the filming industry and that has some knowledge on it, and maybe I can, help them, they could help me and kinda earn a little money as well. We'd love to get somebody in and just kinda I think it would be a lot easier on myself and just be able to capture more content.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are interested in this or you know somebody that wants to do it and make a little bit of extra change, hit up Alex. You are struggling from the same thing that we struggle from.
Yeah.
Getting somebody to do that at a reasonable price because it isn't much money involved in this stuff.
No.
Uh, Especially on our side, because pretty much what you're doing with the race setup and doing all that stuff, I work with a group of guys doing that in the RC side at our big races. I'm more of a commentator in that side, and I do the commentator. But like I said, we go to these races with everything: TVs, tables, VIP pits. We're going up there with a trailer and a camper. We're it's a lot of work, a lot of time on the road, a lot of time away from home, and long days. We're talking about 12, 16-hour days at some of these races. And so it's a lot. You got a long haul ahead of you because you're going out to Texas next week. And
Yeah, yeah, we gotta whoo, man.
yeah, before we get into Texas, though, okay, we have to come back. I'm a new guy, right? What do I basically need to know coming into the drag racing world? Are there age groups? What are the different? Maybe you can break down the different classes. How
Yeah.
can I? How can I? How can somebody like me get into this?
Yep. Okay. So we have classes. We have 4 different classes. We don't have age groups just because we thought about ages before, and there's some kids that are 2 years old that can handle a car. There's some kids that are 8 years old that are still learning. Some kids pick it up faster than others. So we just didn't want to have, we didn't want to put an age on it and say, if this kid's more experienced than the other. It's kind of just we have parents. My big thing is we ask the parents to be smart and put your kid in a class that can handle. So we have our first class is our stock class, which is just a stock power wheel. You're allowed to add rubber to. You're allowed to change the rear tire or add rubber to the wheels just so you can gain traction. Oh man, that just fell down.
That's fine, dude. We're having all types of background
Yeah, that's all right.
malfunctions today. This is
Yeah,
all
it's all
natural.
Yeah, all natural, man. But, so for our stock class, you're adding rubber to the tire, and that's it. We ask that you use your factory 12-volt battery, and this is basically just your starter class. Get the kids involved, get them out there if they've never raced with us before, never even been on a tree. This is the perfect class to get them started at. They figure out the tree, get the feel for the car, and see if they like it, before you go full into it and building a big car and putting all this money into something that they don't like. Because it's not for everybody, but
Mhm.
but that's with anything. Our
Same in
second
RC.
Yeah, yeah,
Either you get into it or you don't.
it's like any baseball, soccer, football, dance for girl. They either like it or they don't. But I think give them the chance to try it at least.
So what's next after that?
Yeah.
What's the next classes
So
after that?
after stock, we have our modified class, which we call, AKA our drill battery class. It utilizes factory or not factory. It utilizes a 18-volt or a 20-volt drill battery, nothing more. So you can use DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, any of those drill batteries. Most of the cars are. I guess here, let me take it back a bit. We'll go to our rules. So they utilize, that 18 or 20-volt drill battery. They must have amp or larger circuit breakers or kill switch, some sort of push-pull kill switch that a parent can hit if need be, or at least the child is in arm's reach where they can smack it down to kill the power from the car. Either remove the ground or remove power from the coil of the solenoid. Another requirement is brakes if you have a gear deleted gearboxes. So when you remove first gear from the gearbox, you're mounting your motor now directly to second, which is relieving a lot of they spin a lot longer when at the shutdown. When you let off the
No
gas,
drag brake.
yeah, no drag. When the free spin of the cars with the first gear delete is much more than having first gear in there. I mean, we could have a car let off at 60 feet at 20 miles an hour, and it takes them 200 feet to slow down.
Wow.
Just depending on the gearing and because of without a brake. They're not flying, but, it's like you made a pass in your race car. You're going, you're going, you're going, and you just throw it into neutral, and
Yeah,
it's
and you
just
can't stop.
coasting.
You just have to
Yep,
wait for it to coast.
exactly. Exactly. And before last year, the start of the year, brakes weren't a big thing. We had a few guys running brakes, but as the cars progressed and got faster and faster, we had way, way too many close calls at events where kids couldn't stop at the end and parents jumped out to catch them. And we're like, man, we need to figure out brakes. And that's when big shout out to the guys at EJ Concepts. They developed a 3D printed brake system that is plug and play for your Corvette, your Lightning McQueen, your Mustang, your Dune Racer. Um, just so you can put it right on the car, and you have a working disc brake setup with a brake pedal that's fully functioning. So the kids also get the feel of a real brake, when they're move on to other things like a dragster or a go-kart or anything like that. But it's keeping them safe. Like at our last indoor event was our first event where we required brakes for the gear deleted cars, and everybody was stopping, which was great. That was our biggest thing, the free coasting.
I have looked at some of EJ Customs cool looking stuff on his Instagram.
Yeah.
I need to talk to him.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
geeking out right now. I'm trying to get everybody on her.
yeah, and another awesome 3D printing guy is, Lyle's 3D printing. They're both different in their own way. Like,
Okay.
EJ is awesome. He does great things. He, focuses more on the brakes and the gearboxes. He developed a, gearbox as well, which is I know a lot of guys are using it. It's working phenomenal. And then Lyle, I guess he would more so focus on, like, the personalized items, which is awesome. He made my daughter I don't know if you saw in that, pink Corvette of hers, but he made her this massive engine with a blower, customized
Really?
it with, Zoe's Fast Life valve covers, and, man, it is awesome. He even, he's made us wheels for, Trevor's Drift Corvette that we're gonna be releasing in Texas. It's really cool. It's got a wide body setup, custom wheels that have never been done before, and,
And it's a
it's really
drift power wheels.
yeah, and it's a drift car. Yep. 40-volt
Okay.
setup with a gear delete, and, yeah, it's cool.
I saw you guys have that cool three-wheel bike too, like the drift three-wheel
Yeah,
bike.
yeah,
That's cool
yep,
too.
the drift
Very cool.
machine, yeah, yeah, big shout out to the Amped Up Ride-On Toys, or I'm sorry, Amped Ride-On, I always say Amped Up because I get
You
amped
want
up
to say
about
amped
the
up?
toy. Yeah, exactly, but it's
All
Amped
right.
Ride-On Toys. They have that drift machine. We're gonna have it in Texas on demo for the kids to use, so it's super cool. It's a
Awesome.
24-volt setup,
All right.
but,
So it's modified stock, and is there any more classes after
yep,
that?
and then we have our outlaw class,
Ooh.
and all of these rules as well, they can be found on I believe Alan has them on his website on mltoys.com, and you can also find them on our Facebook group or Instagram at Oxford Power Wheels Racing. But yeah, our outlaw class, it is pretty much a heads up class, 24 volts or more, and all we ask, or I guess before we didn't really have any rules. It was kind of just a run what you're running 24 volts or more. But now we do require the kids to wear a neck brace or a Hans device. We require long sleeves, gloves, a brake system, working kill switch. What else? A wheelie bar.
Wow.
And I think that's about it. For
And these are the
modified,
cars going 30 miles an hour, right?
yeah, yep, yeah. For modified, we recommend a wheelie bar, but it's not needed. For those cars, if you had them geared correctly, they don't really need it. But outlaw, shoo, man, every car in outlaw, if you're on dual motors, you need a wheelie bar because those things are flying. I remember the first time, for Trevor's first time we built him an Outlaw setup, we were in the driveway, had no wheelie bar on it. I was like, "Oh, you're good, buddy." He tapped the gas. That thing stood straight up on the bumper.
No way.
He said, "Dad, we need a wheelie bar." I was like, "All
Oh
right."
man, that's awesome.
I'll
That's
have to
cool.
find that video and
Yeah.
send it to you so you could throw it up on here for people to see. It was
Absolutely,
pretty funny.
absolutely.
It was one of the first times I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, we do need a wheelie bar." Because I was never a fan. I'm like, "Man, I don't like the look of a wheelie bar. Let's have just like, we don't need that. We'll just add some weight." No, we proved ourselves wrong, and I know a couple of our friends, Hazel and some of our other friends have had some insane wheelies from these cars. It's crazy to see.
Well, I mean, that's where innovation comes from, auto racing,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And that's how we test things to the limits. So
Yeah.
and make things improvement. So those are the Outlaws, like top class. That's where you
Yeah,
want to
top
be. That's the
yep.
big boy class.
And another thing, one thing I did forget is, experience is a big requirement for that class. You can't this is not a class you wanna come out and bring your kid to that's never raced before.
Got you.
Yeah, it's definitely like and we do ask, like, if you wanna run Outlaw, if you've never raced with us before, we'd like to we would say license passes, which would just be like, "Hey, come to the event early, make a pass or 2 by yourself, and just show us that your kid can handle the car." That's all. It's nothing against anybody, it's just to keep all the kids safe, 'cause, we just don't want a kid coming out there that they've never tested their Outlaw car, never been in one, and they get in one and just because some parents they're not doing it intentionally. They just don't realize how fast these cars really go. Because a lot of that knowledge isn't out there.
Exactly.
Everyone wants to hide how you go fast, and that's why we started putting these videos on YouTube to try and put some of that knowledge out there and let some of these parents know, like, these things are serious, and safety is a lot of things that get forgotten with these cars because everybody just says, "Oh, just little plastic cars, they're not that fast."
They're just toys. Well,
Yeah,
they
they're
are.
just toys, and they are when they're stock, but now
Mhm.
these things, they can be dangerous, and
Yeah.
anything can,
Yeah,
but
ye
we do dangerous things safely.
exactly, exactly. We do dangerous things safely. I love that. I love that motto.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I know I keep going back to RC, but it's a lot of similarities, right?
Yeah, no,
Obviously,
it's
we're
very
grown
similar.
man. We're a grown man, and there's no safety involved. There is safety because when you go out there to turn marshal, you can get hit by cars and all that stuff. But the general perception of RC is toy cars you buy at Walmart and stuff like that. Uh, but no, I mean, and I've seen so many people. I can drive an RC car, no problem. Yeah, you can drive an RC car up and down the street. You can drive an RC car around the park, but you cannot drive an RC car between these two lines with jumps and darts and bumps and all that. It's a difference,
Yeah.
and it's hard. So you have to. It's something you have to learn. Just like this, it's not easy. Like you said, the kids are experiencing the G forces. The kids are like,
Oh, yeah.
they're experiencing everything that a real drag racer feels, just on a lower scale, to an extent.
Yep,
So
exactly.
if you have to look at it like that from safety.
Yeah.
So is
It's so
Outlaw the biggest class, or is
Yeah.
stock the
Or
biggest class?
modified is our biggest class.
Okay,
Yeah, the modified is our biggest and most competitive class because it's there's so many kids that can race a modified car and that just aren't quite ready for the Outlaw, or maybe just the parents aren't ready to put their kid in the Outlaw too because
got you.
they see how fast these kids are going.
Hmm.
But our modified class, I would say, is our biggest. We had, like, our last race indoors, it was a 32 car field, which
Hmm.
was incredible. We always do double elimination, which was
Mm.
another thing. We never did that, or I guess I'll say our first race or 2, we didn't do that. We just kinda didn't think of it, but we have some people traveling 2, 3, 4 hours away, and I
Hmm.
think it's a little upsetting if you drove 4 hours with, your daughter or your son,
And you're
and
out.
you race one time and you're done. Like, I
Hmm.
know that's real racing, but, like, we give them the second chance is what we call our
Hmm.
second chance
That's
bracket,
fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
you go out first round, you get put into that bracket, and then the winner of that bracket gets put back into our main show, and then we continue on with second round.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
every kid is guaranteed 2 passes no matter what, and we
Yeah.
always and time permitting, we try to allow, some open testing before the event, but that again, that's time permitting,
Okay.
just depending on setup and stuff.
What that I love that because these are kids and we have to give them
Yeah.
a second chance at this
No.
anyway. How long? So as a parent, bringing my daughter to one of these events as for the first time, how long does it take? When do I expect to get there? Is it like starts on Friday, finishes on Sunday? How
No,
does all that work?
yeah, so we usually do 1 day.
Okay.
We're next year we are looking to we are planning a 2 day event. But as for now, they've been 1 day events. Like I'll use our indoor event for example because we just did one.
Hmm.
We did second chance for everybody. We had 50 some racers there, I believe. We started so registrations opened at 11.
Hmm.
Doors opened at 11. Registration opens at 11. Registration closes at 12, so we can organize the bracket. We did open testing from second you sign in till 12:30, and then we cut it off. We let everybody make a pass, and then by 12:30, we started first round of eliminations. By 4 o'clock, I think we were done stock and modified completely. And then after that, we added our bracket class, which was optional. If you wanted to stay for bracket, which mostly everyone did,
Hmm.
they stayed, and that gave everybody, an additional pass or two. So I would say for that event with about 50 racers running 3 classes, all at double elimination, it took about 4 to 5 hours with awards and giving us a 15-minute break for lunch.
Okay.
So I would say it's not too bad.
It's a
We try to get the stock kids because 'cause they're usually the youngest ones. We try to get them in and done. And
Mhm.
if you wanna excuse me, if you need to leave early and you had an award or something for the stock, that's no problem. Come see us, we'll get you taken care of. I'm fully understand, with them being kids. We try to speed it up and we try to get the events in early and done, so nap time and all that. Some of these kids are really young, so
And this is Saturday is the race day, correct?
yeah, most I would say 90% of our races are Saturdays. We just have our one race on a Sunday, which is our biggest race of the year, Fast Life Fest. It's April 27th at Cecil County Dragway. It's a partnership with Farm Truck and Asian from 405 from the Street Outlaws, Eat Sleep Race, Fast Kids Club, and then Teter Built Myself. So that's no prep drag racing, car show, burnout contest, Power Wheels drag racing, kids car show. It's just an all in all huge family fun racing event that includes everybody.
Are you organizing that entire event, like everything involved, or just the
I
Power Wheel side of it?
Yeah, so I control all the Power Wheels side. The guys
Okay.
from Eat Sleep Race, they handle all the drag racing side of it. Or I
Do
would say, like the big car
Gotcha.
drag racing.
Any crossover between Farm Truck and Asia? I know these guys are popular in. Look, I'm sorry, I don't follow the. I know outlaw racing, but I know who those guys are, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yep, yeah. Yeah, so
Because we.
they help with the big drag racing side of it as well, and then they come up to our program, to the Power Wheels, and they do a lot of filming with us, do some
Mm,
skits with the kids, like Asian raced a couple kids last year in his Tesla Power Wheel, and, they're working on a top secret build, I would say, that's fully custom that Asian's going to be racing an Outlaw. It's actually going to be insane.
really?
Full carbon fiber custom body. I can't say too much about it, but,
Oh, that's
we're
gonna be awesome.
yeah, we're hoping to have it out at Fast Life Fest this year. I know Farm and Asian have been working hard on it with, mad scientists from the 405, so I'm,
I
anxious to
I
see
like that
that.
that cross that cross. Going to these events and that the superstars, those
Yeah,
obviously the superstars, right?
yeah,
They're mixing and getting involved in this.
yeah,
So it's that's awesome. Also for the kids to get to meet these guys, and it's
yeah,
also great for everybody.
yeah, it
For
is.
you, for the
Yeah.
racing, all
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
we had ran into those guys at, Maple Grove Raceway on when they were filming for one of the Street Outlaws seasons,
Mm,
and, they actually, so take it back a little before that, Asian had found us on social media, and he was like, "Dude, I gotta send your son some of this pimp juice, my traction compound." He's like, "He needs that for his car." And I'm like, "Alright, awesome, man, I appreciate it." And then a couple months go by, and he messaged me, he's like, "Hey, man, are you local to Maple Grove?" I was like, "We're like an hour away." He's like, "We're coming in for a show. Meet me there." I'm like,
no
"Okay."
way.
So we met them there with our good friend Hazel and their parents, and then Trevor with his car, and Hazel had her truck at the time. And he said, "Bring the truck, bring Trevor's car. We're gonna do a no prep race, and Farm's gonna do the flagging." And they did like a little skit with us. We met them, hooked us up with some merch. It was super awesome. Got linked up with those guys. This was like 2022, I would say. And
Mhm.
Asian told me, he said, "I love what you're doing." He said, "I promise you we're gonna work together one day, and we're gonna put on an event because these kids right here are the future of drag racing."
That's amazing.
And I came home and told, my guys at Eat Sleep Race and Fast Kids Club, because they had a connection with them as well. And I said, "Man, one of these days we are gonna be able to put on an event with these guys." And kind of long story short, once the opportunity came upon, we made it happen, and they are such big supporters. Like Farm Truck, he was in tears last year seeing the kids up there racing. It was just cool to see their support. He's like, just to see how many parents are here for the love of the sport, how many kids are here, this is keeping the sport alive. I felt like the sport was dying almost. I wouldn't say dying, but it was not as big as it was 2
Mhm.
years ago. And I could be wrong, but I feel like all of this is making the sport grow, and it's gonna keep
Absolutely, it
it al
is.
and I think it's gonna keep it alive. It's getting all these I talked to different track promoters. There's a new track in Florida, Leadfoot City. They're running their own power program down there. I know in, Georgia, it's a Gallet Motorsports Park, I believe, or it's in North Carolina.
Mhm.
They're running a program down there. There's and we're soon, we're gonna have the World Cup finals of Power Wheels racing. That's our plan. One day,
Really?
if it's not this year, we're gonna have we're our goal is to do like I wouldn't say invite only, but kinda like an invite only World Cup finals, the baddest of the baddest Power Wheels, at the biggest race of the because World Cup finals at, Budds Creek, Maryland. That's literally the fastest of the fastest cars pretty much in the country. And I think if we did that with Power Wheels, it would be really cool.
You seem to be leading the charge on this. Your connections through drag racing and I'm curious, how old are you?
I'm 29.
So you're still dude, you're hip, like, you get it, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm a lot older than you. I could probably be your dad, to be honest. No, I could, but I couldn't. I'm 47, yeah, I'm 47, right? So, but I get social media and I get the connections, and I think your ability to understand that and see, this is the key. Your importance to making content priority as well is what really gets things going. And this is something that we have a struggle with in our industry. We realize that on my side of things, at the off-road side of things,
Yeah.
but it's amazing. And you have what I'm trying to get. Like, what
Yeah.
you have that so you have that star power in that community. You have drag
Yeah,
racers
definitely.
supporting kids drag racing. And I can see this as I can't afford me personally, I can't afford to go get my son into drag racing right now. There's some drag racing here in the DR, but
Yeah.
I can't afford
Yeah.
that.
And
But
the and that was the biggest thing with this. This is
yeah.
something you can drag race affordably.
So let's talk about that. What is the price point on obviously stock Power Wheels is stock,
Yeah.
getting
Yep.
them at that. But obviously we can go to the upper extremes in
Mhm.
Outlaw, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah. Outlaw
give me
could
an
get
example of upper extreme and give me an example of how you can get into the outlaw class or modified class on a budget.
Yeah. So getting into the modified class on a budget, I would say, let me think. I would say if you did everything yourself, if you're at home and you have your stock chassis, we're not going to include the price of the chassis. We're just going to include, what it takes to build your modified car all by yourself from scratch. I would say $400 to $500 to have a competitive modified car.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
And that's including your brake system, um, your motors, pinions, circuit breaker, kill switch, wiring. There's really not much to it. Your solenoid, the it can get crazy, but you don't have to. That's like with anything. You don't have to overcomplicate it. We try to keep it as simple as possible. I would say on the higher scale though would be your outlaw car. To do a base to to do an outlaw car safely, again, doing it completely by yourself, $800 plus, depending what battery you choose. Now
Mm,
you could have 2 to 3 to $400 just in one battery. I mean, you know
mhm,
that from RC racing. We're
mhm,
using LiPo, so, we're using 6S batteries, so
mm.
they can get pricey. Uh,
So, so the so just so I clarify, so the outlaw class isn't using the drill batteries; they're using
nope.
like actual lipo batteries.
Yeah, yeah, so you can
Okay,
run 24 volts or more. I know a guy that's actually running 12S. Um,
really?
yeah, he has a completely different setup than anybody. He's been trying out something different, which is awesome. I love to see it.
Batteries aren't
And
cheap, dude.
no, no,
Are
not
these
at
the
all.
same batteries that I would use in RC? Like, what's the milliamps on these things?
So, are the milliamp is like 5,500 to
Same
10,000.
exact batteries, then. Same exact
Yeah.
batteries.
Yeah, so we get a lot of the cheap ones off of Amazon.
Mhm.
They're like a U battery, I think
Yep,
it's
yep,
called.
yep, yep.
They work great. If you get next scale up from that, I forget the name of it.
You can
We
you can spend a lot of money on batteries, and
Yeah,
you can get that same performance for less time out of cheaper batteries.
exactly, exactly.
So I get it because I have RC boats, right, that run electric, and they zap a lot of power, and they run on 6S and all that type of stuff.
No,
So
okay.
you just get the cheap, like I get the cheap 3S packs with a good C.
Yeah,
So lots of similarities. But I assume in Outlaw, sky's the limit. You can go from $800 that could easily be to
exa
$3,000 for
Yep,
some people.
yep, for sure. Yeah, like, we try to keep ours on the simple side of it, like, we're on a budget. All of our cars I built on a budget. I did everything myself. I try to keep it as cheap as possible because, again, like I've said, we do quarter mid racing, we do a lot of
Mhm.
other things, so I try not to invest all of our money into this. I try to just put as least as I can into it, but go fast at the same time.
Well, you're definitely putting a lot of time and effort into it. Um, my next question would be, I guess, how much does it cost? How much is entry fee for these races?
So most of our entries are free.
Really?
Yeah, so we've now our indoor events, they like our last race, it was $10 per car,
Because
and
you have to pay for the spot, right?
yep, we have to pay for the spot.
Okay.
So now when we do, like, our events with the Cancer Foundation, like, we do 3 events with those guys, they're paying like, our events at Cecil with them, they pay $20 per carload to get into the gate, and that's not per Power Wheel, like, that'd be you pulling up, you have a trailer of 20 Power Wheels in the back, your whole family's in the truck, it's just $20 for you to get in the gate, if that makes
Okay.
sense, and then all the money goes towards the Cancer Foundation.
So how do you subsidize your work doing this? Like that's what I would say next is because you can't work for free and this costs money to take you around to these type of places. So how does because you're a race promoter, right?
Yep,
And you're
yep,
doing this thing. So I don't think you should do it out of pocket.
exactly.
How do you subsidize that?
Yeah, and I was doing it, I would say, not completely out of my pocket for a while,
Hmm.
but with the help of a few friends that help run our program,
Hmm.
Doug and Jorge, we kinda would put our money together, and not a lot, but, we put a little bit together to buy trophies, and then but to answer your question, I mean, we rely on sponsors, and that's mainly what helps. Like, my biggest thing, again, when we started this, I'm like, "Man, I want something that the parents can afford and there's not $100 race entries and blah, 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 blah." But now that we're so far into it, it's gotten to the point, like you said, where, dang, I sit back and realize, I'm like, we can't do this for free.
No, you
Um, but
can't.
but I'm not trying to get rich off of this or line my
Mm-mm.
pockets by any means. I have a full-time job. This is just something I do on the side for fun, and really enjoy doing this with the kids. Enjoy doing it with my kids. I enjoy seeing other people's kids succeed in something like this. I love seeing the talent from such young kids. I don't know. It's very fun for me. So I try to keep it not as a business more so. We try to kind of just we rely on some big sponsors. Big shout out to ML Toys. Alan, they're awesome. He's really helped us out a lot, and they have some great products. And it's what helps keep the program growing and allowing us to do these fun events for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that, man.
Because
Big
without
shout out to Alan.
Yeah, Alan's a man, and like I said, without these sponsors, yeah, we'd be able to put on an event, but they wouldn't be to the scale of what we have. I mean, when you walk into our event, we want it to feel like you're at the big show. You're not just It's not just Joe Schmo set up on the back road. I mean, we have a timing system that's fully working. We have signs down the whole track. We have banners. We have, tents, custom merch, custom table. You feel like
Hmm. Hmm.
you're at the big show, and that's what we wanted the kids to feel like. We want them to feel like superstars because they deserve it. Like you said, these kids are only young for so long, so let them shine while they can.
Treat it big, dude. Treat
Yep.
it big. Now, are there superstars within the community? Like, are there some kids? Like, obviously, I would think probably your kid is a kid that other kids may look up to because he's popular.
Yeah.
So, is there like, I saw that, some of your posters like confirm this racer is coming to this race,
Yep.
and this race is. So, are there some popular superstar kids at these events that maybe other kids look up to?
Yeah, yeah, so I would say, like, obviously this kinda Trevor's been, like, the face of the program for
Hmm.
since this all started, and, when we go places, like, we our f the first I would say the first, show we ever did, we set up a vendor booth, and this is l I would say a little off topic in a way, but we set up as a vendor at a Motorama. Long story short, we just had a booth there. We were displaying our program, showing people what we did. Trevor's standing there talking to people, and there was probably 10 different families that came up with their kids, and they're like, "Excuse me, do you mind if our kid takes a picture with your son? They saw your son, and he's going nuts." They all watch his YouTube videos.
That's awesome.
So we got stickers for him, and Trevor hands out stickers. He was actually World Cup finals. He made like $300 off of his stickers in the bleachers,
No
selling them
way.
to everybody. But definitely well known in the racing community. He's done some really cool opportunities. Did a big long video with Motor Trend TV. They came out and did a shoot with him. And, but there's definitely some other very popular kids in our program that I would say, with the way the videos have taken off, if you're in social media, you have to have seen these videos. Just shout out to some of the kids: Tegan, Dougie, Charlotte, Hazel, Marley. The list goes on. Lainey, she's just turned 3, and she's been driving a gear deleted car 20 plus miles an hour since she turned 2. Um,
Wow.
it's pretty incredible
All right. And I guess my last question about this would be what is the age you usually see these kids starting to kind of get out of this?
to get out of
Unfortunately.
it, you would say.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've only had a few kids get out of it, and one of them was about 11 years old. We have a kid that races with us now who's 10. Um,
Okay.
Vance Miller, shout out to him and his dad. They're awesome.
Okay.
He's competitive too. He's 10 years old. He's a taller kid, obviously. He's racing a dune racer, and he was at our indoor event, and he went rounds. I think he made it to just about the semifinals.
All right, so it
So
is this is feasible to be for more than just very young kids. It
yeah,
can be.
definitely.
So do you feel that the Power Wheels racing can be something that goes a little bit further and it becomes something legitimately like a legitimate stepping stone towards
Yep.
other full-time drag racing
Yep,
eventually?
exactly, and that's what I always tell people. Ask, what's next at Power Wheels? What does your kid do next? And I said, well, you could get into junior dragsters. I would say if you have very deep pockets, you could get into them. Or another thing, which was kind of what we found last year, was the quarter midgets. You can start them at
Really?
4. You can start at 4.5 years old. You
So
can,
this is a legitimate stepping stone. This is
yeah.
this is a legitimate stepping stone.
Yeah,
Okay.
and people have said, how does Power Wheel racing compare to quarter midgets? It's 2 totally different things. And I said, well, when you have a brake on a Power Wheel, when your kid's going 30 miles an hour, they learn how to use a brake. They learn how to overcome the fear of going that fast. They learn how to control a car. There's a lot of things they learn. I mean, when Trevor they do a rookie school for the quarter midgets, and he
Mhm.
started that last year. He Everything they taught, he already knew. there was kids that got into it because it's entry level. You come in at 4.5, there's no other program that you can race in younger than
Mm-hmm.
4.5. So
Mm-hmm.
that's you get in, they're teaching you how to use a brake, they're teaching you all this stuff, and Trevor already knew all that. We
Mm.
taught him that already, and that's the same thing with the junior dragster. You're gonna get in, you're gonna have to learn the brake, you're gonna have to learn the throttle, you're gonna have to learn how the throttle reacts. Like, most of these cars are set up with just an on-off switch for your gas pedal, but we have cars that are set up on variable speed pedals that are, it's just like a real car. So you're getting the feel of how a gas pedal feels, you're learning how a car reacts to steering. There's so many lessons to be learned. You're learning how to win, you're learning how to lose, you're learning how to be a good sport. You're learning how to support your friends, your racers, your peers. It's not like for us. It's not about winning.
Mhm.
My Trevor's won a lot, which is cool. Everybody wants their kid to win, but we go out there, preach to everybody, and I preach to Trevor and my kids all the time. Winning is a bonus. If you go out there and win, that's awesome. If you go out there and lose or win and you aren't having fun, why do it? I want you to be able to go out there and lose a race and get out and shake that person's hand at the end and smile and tell them good race. That's my
Absolutely.
biggest thing. Like, you should be able to do that. There's people in the real world that still can't do that. But I've
Absolutely, they
always
can.
done that in drag racing, win or lose. I was never competitive. I've never won a championship or anything, and that's fine. I always did it
Mhm.
for fun. But every time at the end of the track, I always get out of my car and shake the person's hand. And that person that would beat me, I would hope I would hope that they went on and won. That's what I would always shake their hand and be like, "Man, you beat me. You better take it home now." And that's what I teach the kids. Um,
Awesome. All great life lessons, man.
yep,
All great life lessons.
yep,
As we say, every day is a racing day, not every day is a winning day.
exactly.
And a good day at the racetrack is a better time than being at work doing something you do not like.
Yep, you were damn right. Because
So,
in the real racing world, how many times do you win?
not much. That's
Not
why it's
much.
called racing. That's
Yeah,
why
you lose more than you ever win in racing, and
there can
that's
only
that
be one winner, buddy. There can only be one
exactly.
winner.
That's why I said we have 100 people here racing. I'm sorry to say it, but there's gonna be one kid coming home with that
Absolutely.
trophy right there, and
Absolutely.
that's
Do you see some kids in her? I assume your son's one of them. He seems to just genetically get it from you. But obviously the guys from the outlaw racing scene see it because they're there. But do you ever see like I'll see a kid in RC and I'll be like, he's got something. Like
yeah.
he's got something.
Oh,
Do
definitely.
you see that in the Power Wheels? And do you see that kid's like, okay, if this
Oh,
kid
yeah.
sticks with this and goes to the next level,
Yeah.
he's got something.
Yeah. That's another big shout out to our buddy Liam. He's another great driver. But there's
Yeah.
pretty much all those drivers that I had named before, and this isn't against anybody else. I'm forgetting so many. I can't
Mhm.
remember all these kids' names, or I can remember their names. I just tend to forget to shout everybody out. But
I
I
get it.
would say shout out to the whole Oxford Power Wheels crew. If you've raced with us, I would say 99% of these kids have something. 99%
Awesome.
of these kids have something. They're starting young. Seeing them, I mean, we have 3-year-olds, like I said, handling these cars. MJ, I mean, there's so many kids. The list goes on. That just dominated. To me, I mean, it blows my mind to see some of these kids the way they can drive these cars.
And even if they aren't the best drivers in the world, they're learning some valuable life lessons.
Exactly. Yep. And you got
So
to start somewhere. Some of these kids are coming out here with no experience. Some of these kids are coming out with 100 passes under their belt. I mean, when COVID hit, I was unemployed for a little bit. Me and Trevor were making passes every day. That's all we did. We would go to our test spot. I'd go there with 10 sets of gearboxes and 10 different motors and a box full of pinions and different wheels, and we would sit there with a notebook, and he would make a pass, and we would try this battery, and then I mean, we would try every combo, note it
Mhm.
down, and then, "Alright, switch to this tire, switch to this pinion, switch to this gear, try it again, try this battery. Alright, figure out that didn't work. Alright, try it all again." That's kinda, how we've gotten this car to be where it's at, just all the trial and error.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. This has been. We're gonna definitely have you on her again because I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, because we could go
Uh,
on and on and on,
I know,
all day.
I know. But you have a big event coming up here shortly next weekend. As we're recording this on a Thursday prior to you doing this. You headed down to Texas to
Yep.
actually Dripping Springs for the North versus South Showdown. It's going to happen March 22nd. Is this your longest haul for any race?
Definitely. It's my longest haul for any race. It's my longest drive of my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, I've never driven that far. It's a
What?
25-hour drive.
Dude, I've been across your country 7 times in a
Yeah,
vehicle,
yeah.
driving and as a passenger.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
I used to go to California a lot because I have family out there, but I flew out there. I didn't drive. Now
Okay.
I'd love to do that drive out there just to see, go through all the states.
Beautiful. I love America. I love visiting America. I love love seeing every part of your beautiful country.
Yeah, yeah.
So what can we expect down in Texas? Is this an outdoor event or indoor event?
Yep, so this is an outdoor event. It's
Okay.
actually at Speeding Springs in Texas. They have a real scaled down drag strip, paved, painted walls. I mean, it literally looks like you're at the dragway, but scaled down for Power Wheels.
No shit.
Yep, and
And
they have it.
is this an actual drag event as well?
No, so this is at their shop. So their shop, they do a lot of, antique signs, as well as, custom, work. Like, the guy Justin and his wife Megan, Justin does all custom upholstery for these, cars. I mean, custom, like, he builds everything from scratch. He's on a sewing machine, making everything. It's incredible. So
For
it's
real
they
cars, right?
Yeah, yeah, for real
Okay.
cars, yep. Yeah, so they have their 2nd annual swap meet and it's a massive show with a bunch of old classic cars. They have food vendors, regular, it's a swap meet. They have parts for sale, signs for sale, antiques, and then the Power Wheels drag racing is just a kickoff of it. So I met those guys, excuse me, about a year ago, because of what they were doing. They paved that track, and I was like, man, this is so cool. I'm like, I would dream to bring my kids out there just to, even if it was just to have a picture of them on that track. I'm like, just
Mhm.
for the memory. I'm like, that would be cool. So we kicked it off, and long story short, I helped them get their program going, helped them get their rules, helped them pretty much guide them in the right direction to work these events. And then we're going out there to run the event, to kind of show them how it's done, show them how to do it, guide them so that they can continue on with the program at their facility, and hopefully us go out there yearly, annually, maybe more, to do some of these bigger events.
So do they have a strong Power Wheels racing community down there in Texas?
So it's growing. It's definitely, they have a pretty good Power Wheels community down there. Now, nothing really organized, I'd say. So they're trying to have like an organized program like how we do. So that's where they started theirs. It's called Little Rascal Racers. They have a Facebook group.
Mm.
Utilizing our rules, pretty much same thing, utilizing our rules. They have a timing system, and they want to run the same classes, so that we can all compete together. Because that was our biggest thing. Like when Alan and I talked, if we could get everybody on the same rules nationwide, we could do a nationwide race, and when we travel, everybody can use the same rules. You don't have to build
And have a ranking system, chrono
exactly.
champion, all that type of
Yeah.
stuff.
I think it would be cool to have everybody's stats and
Mhm.
things like that. Just just be cool. Cool
Well,
addition to it.
it seems like so they just I guess they were Power Wheel enthusiasts. Their kids were Power Wheels
Yep.
enthusiasts, and they just built this awesome track.
Yeah, yeah, like, they're not even really into drag racing as much. They're just into more so cars themselves, and,
Okay.
got the idea, I think they kinda saw what we were doing, and, was like, "Dude, let's make it happen." They got some sponsors together, and, yeah, they it's incredible, man. I'm really excited to see it. They had some, small events there last year to kick it off, but, they're hoping with us coming out there and the content from it, it'll really grow, and it's going to be the biggest Power Wheels race that's ever gone down in Texas, in the state that I know of. I've been handling all the pre-registration for it, and we
Mhm.
have, I believe, 51 kids registered.
That's
So
awesome.
I was blown away. I was hoping for a little less, but because it's
Is
vacation for me,
yeah, is any of
but it'll be
the
awesome.
all right. So are any of the racers that race with you regularly up there in the north making the trip down to race as well?
Yeah, we have I was blown away how many people are coming from Oxford, because it's a like you said, it's a long haul, it's not cheap. It's very expensive. I'm driving down, just the fuel alone's over $1,000. My wife and kids. My wife is flying down with the kids, and then we have 2 other families that are driving down with me, and they're flying down with their wife and kids.
Mhm.
And then we have a family that's driving down in an RV, bringing their stuff. And we have one other family that's flying down, and we're taking everybody's Power Wheels in our trailer. So we have a big 24-foot trailer. Shout out to Doug and his dad from Bell's Welding for letting us use that. We're able to fit 27 Power Wheels in there.
Amazing.
So we
Dude,
built shelving, and we got the setup.
dude, I like you and I have so much similarities in this, just in different industries. It's amazing. That's why I kind of knew we was going to have a great conversation about this
Yeah.
whole. We're very similar, very passionate about what we do.
And it's very comparable to RC racing, you know? It's like it's kinda the same thing, but it's just an adult form, I guess I would say, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
What you guys have things that I'm actually very jealous of. You have focus on the youth. We don't really have that in RC, unfortunately, because it's mostly a older man,
yeah,
father son. It is a great father son, mother daughter, all that
yeah,
type of stuff. But
yeah, for sure.
most of it's done by adults. Your son absolutely seems to get more about media attention and content creation and being a great representative than our whole entire sanctioning body does in America for RC. That's a fight I'm having with them right now. A 6-year-old seems to get it more than they do.
Yeah.
So we have our problems. Don't get me wrong. But you seem to be in something that's fresh. You seem to be leading the charge on this. You're young. You got that hip. You got the knowledge. Your son seems to be in it. And I mean, just from the outside looking in, I haven't been to one of these events. I'm going to try and get one-to-one, bring my daughter next year or this year. You'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. The Texas one is really what sounds good to me. I'd like to go to the Texas one.
Yeah. We'll have to get you out here to our area though for sure, and
yes, for sure.
We could plan, some other fun racing things as well.
Yeah.
Get you guys down to the dirt track, do some because we're also planning some Power Wheels races on the dirt track as well.
No, really? Like
kinda been
oval racing?
Yep, so I've been kinda keeping that, haven't really
Quiet.
said much about it, but that's
Pretty
fine.
loud in here.
Yeah, you guys can hear it. We're ironing out some details on it, but we're hoping to have a few on the dirt track this year. So if the kids wanna try out dirt racing, they can try it.
Amazing, man. It's people like you and your passion that's gonna and getting the manufacturer. Like you have a manufacturer behind you, have many manufacturers behind you, and they all want to progress forward. And that's good. And anything with kids, I'm about. I'm a father, right?
Yeah, yep,
And I want my kids to have the best.
yeah,
Not the best, but be involved in this type of stuff, and especially my daughter.
yeah,
So I
definitely, man. You wanna do
can
the
feel
best
it.
you can for them, so
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Well, dude, I have had an absolute blast talking to you. I know you're going to be back on her. I think we're just going to
all
bring
good.
you back after Texas because I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear how Texas went.
Yeah, that's
So
what I was like, we definitely have to talk after Texas,
yes,
and I wanted to talk before too, just because the hype of it, I was like, I'm on my high right now of, getting ready for Texas. I'm
I
so
can see it.
excited, like, I'm pumped. I'm like
When do you leave?
so we leave, the 18th.
Okay, so that's
Now
next 5 days from now that we're
Yep.
recording this.
Yeah,
All right.
so we have pretty much everything ready. All our cars are untested still, but that's alright. We still have time for that. I'm gonna pick Trevor up from school here in a few hours, and we're gonna load up the truck. We're gonna go testing.
Is he driving down with you?
No,
Okay.
he's flying down. So I really wanted him to drive down because he would have loved it, and he'd be fine with the drive. He'd vlog the whole thing with us, but we've been battling with school. He's missed a lot of school for
Got you.
racing already, so we're like, we gotta get him to miss the minimal amount of school as he can, so we can save it for some other events towards the end of the year that he's gonna have to miss as well.
Absolutely. He got VIP status. He gets flown down on the private jet.
Yep,
That's what happens when
exactly.
you're the superstar.
Yeah, he
That-
was laughing at me. He said, "Dad, you have to sit in the car for 25 hours. I only have to sit on a plane for 3."
Well, guess what? If he keeps going the way he's going, he will be flying in private jets at some point in his life. So,
I'm like, "Hey, just don't forget about Dad, son."
dude, I have okay. Let's let people know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah.
I know hopefully some people see this and they want to get into the drag racing world. let's leave all your stats and all your how people can contact you or get involved in this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're interested in getting involved with the Power Wheels Racing program, check us out on Facebook at Oxford Power Wheels Racing. We're on Instagram as well. You could contact myself at Teter Racing or just through Oxford Power Wheels Racing. I run all the accounts. We have a bunch of how-to videos, tutorials as well, which are posted on our YouTube at Trevor's Fast Life. Very easy to find. Just type in on Google how to build a fast car, how to build a modified Power Wheel. It'll pop right up. If you have any further questions, you could either email me as well at oxfordpowerwheelsracing@gmail.com. But otherwise, I think most of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. And what me and Alan have been working on with, he's going to be working on the website as well, and we're going to have a section on there which kind of question and answer with
Awesome.
all the frequently asked stuff that where hey you can click on here and it'll show you how to build a modified car, how to build an outlaw car, how to build a stock car, how to be competitive for all the classes.
Absolutely.
Just so the kids can get involved easily without as much trial and error as we did, because we did so much trial and error, and I know that would deter some parents from getting into it. You come out and you fail 5 times, some people give up. We
Yeah,
failed
absolutely.
100, we never did, but I want to make it easier for these people to get involved in it. And
Absolutely.
that's what keep it growing. So
Hey, dude, I am 100% in your corner. The more content out there, the more if people get frustrated. I'm going to be doing this very soon, right? I'm going to modify my daughters. I'm going to be consuming a lot of how-to content and try to do that. So I'm a great experiment for this myself as well. And I look forward to this journey with her and all of this. And I just want to say, man, thank you for your time, your passion. And I had a really great chat with you, man. Honestly, good luck in Texas as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we really appreciate it. I had a great time talking as well. And we'll definitely be back for some more.
We're gonna get a race recap when you come back from Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
And good luck to Trevor and everybody, all the races down there. And I hope it's an excellent event.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Hopefully, we're hoping Oxford brings home that gold.
There you go. There you go. All right, that's Alex Teter of Teter Built Racing, Oxford Power Wheels, and Trevor's Fast Life. Hit him up. I'll leave links for all his YouTubes and his Facebooks and all that stuff. And if you want to get in contact with him about getting into the Power Wheels drag racing, just look up Alex and have a chat with him. I'm sure you will get all the information that you need. Dude, good luck. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you after the race.
Awesome. Talk soon, man. Thanks, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex, for your time. It was a great chat with you. Good luck in Texas this weekend. If you guys want to get involved in the Power Wheels drag racing, hit up Alex. Will have his links and contact details in the written description of this podcast. Now we go on to the ML Toys Tech Tip of the podcast. Yeah, Tech Tip of the podcast. We got to get a name for this. We'll let it go over to ML Toys, and thank you for all their support.
ML Toy is bringing you a tech tip on gear ratios. The gear ratio in your Power Wheels will help slightly determine the top speed of the car and the off-road torque. Gear ratio is the number of times a motor spins compared to the number of times a wheel spins. So if a motor spins once and the wheel makes half a rotation versus a motor spinning once versus a quarter rotation, those are 2 different gear ratios. Now, why don't we just want the top highest speed gear ratio we can get? Because as we get that gear ratio to higher speed, we're decreasing the amount of torque the motor has and making it a lot harder for it to work to get the car up to speed, which can cause overheating in the car. The way we change gear ratios in the car most commonly is with the pinion gear on the motor. That's these small gears that attach to them. Most gearboxes don't have adjustable pinion gears to them, and the reason you can't adjust it is, as you can see, the diameter of the gear changes with the number of teeth. This is a 10-tooth pinion gear. This is a 22-tooth pinion gear. If we try to put the 22-tooth in the 10-tooth gearbox, it's not going to be able to clear the gear. If we put the 10-tooth in a 22-tooth gearbox, then the 10-tooth is not even going to touch the first gear. So getting that gear ratio matching for your gearbox is very important. Another way the gear ratio can be changed, we make different first gears for some gearboxes that also change the teeth number. What's important with this is to make sure you're getting the right amount of torque. The top speed that you can get is going to depend on the terrain you're running in, the weight on the vehicle, the amount of work the motor has to do to get you up to top speed. If you just put the biggest pinion gear in that you can, you may overheat the motor and you may actually never see all the top speed that you can. If you have an adjustable gearbox, start small with the pinion gear and work up bigger from there. The difference in speed from this guy to this guy may be 1 mile per hour. So it's generally not worth risking it for backyard use. On the drag strip or racing environments, when you're side by side with another car, 0.5 mile an hour can make a big difference. That's another tech tip from ML Toys.
All right, everybody, that ends our second podcast of the new Power Wheels podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed my good chat with Alex. I hope you guys enjoyed the tech tip as well. Don't forget, showing some love is pretty easy to do. Just hit that like, share, and comment button. Hit that notification button. Let's grow this channel. Go over to our socials. The more people that get involved in this, the more we can do. We'd like to do some spotlights on some of the young racers, maybe get their rides up and show some pictures of that as we get more into the nitty gritty of the Power Wheels community. We want to see your rides. Let us know what's going on. Let us know if you have any questions for any of our guests. If you want to see any guests on her, particularly when they have any topics that you want to talk about, let me know and we'll cover that. We thank you for all the support. We hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next episode. We'll probably get Alex and her to do a race recap, and you'll probably start seeing some more podcasts coming on her for some other guests and her. But let us know what you think. We might even do a live stream one day, and I'll get all of you guys involved. Check out Trevor's Fast Life, check out Teter Built, and check out Oxford Power Wheels. And of course, don't forget to check out ML Toys. From Lefty and everybody here at the Power Wheels podcast, thank you for listening, and Kate, stay powered up with Power Wheels. We'll see you in the next one. Lefty out.